We are in the middle of the NFL Combine right now. And as Kyler Murray has made headlines because it feels like he's done in Arizona, Tua, everything on the table with Tua. That's what the new Dolphins GM said on Tuesday. And Aaron Rodgers is making headlines, and Kirk Cousins. Somebody that's going to be throwing this week, I think, is going to wow a lot of people. I think he's going to open a lot of eyes. I think he's going to turn a lot of heads because Fernando Mendoza is not throwing at the Combine. Well, there's no reason for him to. He's going to be the number one overall pick. It's a damn near guarantee, as much as we've had here in the last several years of the draft. But what do we know about this year's NFL draft when it comes to the quarterback position? Outside of Fernando Mendoza, ain't a lot to get excited about. We're talking Ty Simpson as probably the second quarterback taken off the board here after Dante Moore said he's going back to Oregon. Well, I don't know if you remember this, Brad, but I do remember a time last year around, August, only about 6 months ago, when Drew Allar was going to be a first-round draft pick from Penn State. And then he had about as miserable of a season as you could possibly imagine. Penn State loses 3 straight games. He was really bad against Northwestern, wasn't good against Oregon in that double OT loss. James Franklin gets fired, and in the loss to Northwestern, Drew Allar breaks his ankle, done for the season. Well, the reporting is that he has fully recovered from that season-ending ankle surgery, and he will be throwing this week at the Combine. And I think it's a great idea, and I think you look at just the tools that Drew Allar has shown us. 6'5", 230 pounds, can run the ball, and he's got a rocket of an arm. I understand everything that happened this year, and I know that how bad he looked in those games I mentioned. Everybody talks about quarterback. Everybody's quarterback needy. Don't be surprised if Drew Allar wows this week at the Combine when he throws. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or Friday. I've been searching everywhere to try to get an answer on the exact date, but he's throwing this week at the Combine. And don't be shocked. And maybe another week or two from now, maybe in just a couple of days from now after he throws, when we hear Drew Allar might jump all the way up into the end of the first round here as a potential down-the-road option for a playoff contending team. And it wouldn't shock me if he honestly launches himself all the way up until the number 2 quarterback spot ahead of Ty Simpson, because we were all talking about this guy as a first-round guaranteed draft pick before this past season. Let's not act like he just forgot how to play football. That's my thoughts on Drew Allar. I think he's going to wow a lot of people whenever he throws at the Combine.
Yeah, the possibility and potential is there. I can tell you this, in the games that I saw him play, and the one specifically that I recall was the Oregon game. And in that Oregon game, just 14 to 25, it was less than 60% completion rate. He was downright awful. I know he had a couple of touchdowns, did have an INT in that game. But if you look at the game film, he was generally speaking very subpar across the board. And some of the advanced data really backs up what the eye test was showing. He finished number 76 among qualifying quarterbacks at Pro Football Focus in adjusted completion percentage. But you mentioned the duality, and that's absolutely key. You got to be a multi-dimensional threat in this day and age of the NFL. So, he's bringing in spry. He's got the big frame. Is he Justin Herbert light? And I think he's very light compared to Justin Herbert. But yeah, the skill set, I could see the comps, the comparison there with the ability for him to take off, call his own number, chew up yards on the ground, the big arm as well. But the inaccuracy is glaring. But there are a lot of arrogant and confident coaching staffs that are out there that are saying, oh, yeah, we can fix them. Go ahead and bring him to our organization. It's just a matter of, if he goes out there at the Combine, blows up, what is his price tag in the end? Is it going to be, like you suggest, a mid-first round potential landing spot? I think that's at the tippy top of the possibilities. He could be a day 2 guy, a late day 2 guy, maybe an early day 3 guy if he doesn't show up and show out in the Combine. A wide variance of outcomes for Drew Allar. But again, based on my own eye test, he was downright lousy against meaningful competition last season, but he's got to prove it to me. We'll see what he can do in his underwear. If he can go out there and absolutely spin some spirals and impress everybody, and me included, with nobody, rushing at him, coming at him in his face, then maybe that price tag does swell into late first round, but he's got to prove it to me.
Yeah, and that's fair. And that's fair. I remember watching him in 2024. And then I was definitely afraid of Penn State, if I'm being honest. Like, deep down in my heart of hearts as a Notre Dame fan, when they played the Penn State Nittany Lions in the semifinals, I thought Drew Allar was going to have a monster game against Notre Dame's defense, and he didn't. And he didn't play that well. And then last year, again, in the biggest game, he only played in, 5-6 games before he broke his ankle. Like you said, wasn't good against Oregon. UCLA, that game, that wasn't really, I thought he played well. I just remember Penn State's defense literally could not stop Nico Iamaleava. He ran for like 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. He threw for 2 touchdowns. It was the Northwestern game that he struggled in and then got hurt. James Franklin gets fired. Drew Allar's season done. And it feels like in just that one moment, his draft stock like completely plummeted in just that one moment, as if it had undone all of the season before that and all the big games that he had and all the great tape that he put forward. Honestly, I think Drew Allar, like, he resembles Josh Allen to me because he's got a big arm. He can run the freaking football. He can run you over. He's almost the exact same measurables as Josh Allen. If you give him a really good coach and a good team that can take a year or two to develop him, I think he could turn into the next Josh Allen. And you know who I'm thinking of here? You know who I'm thinking of? I think it's a team that wanted a similar profile quarterback to him last year. I think the Rams wanted Jackson Dart and the New York Giants jumped him. I think that the LA Rams should want Drew Allar. And it wouldn't surprise me if they end up choosing Drew Allar to be Matthew Stafford's successor. And that's the way that he could get taken in the first round. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken here, the LA Rams have 2 first-round draft picks here this season, both from Atlanta, number 13 and number 29. Drew Allar, number 29 of the LA Rams. I don't know, that sounds pretty damn good to me. That is, of course, if he does well at the Combine, if he does well at Penn State Pro Day, assuming he participates in that one. I think this guy could really launch himself right up the leaderboard, and he's got all the tools to do it. If you can coach the inaccuracy issues and the footwork, which were a problem, you can coach that out of him. There's no reason this kid can't be a franchise quarterback in the near future.
All right, I'm going to rescind everything I said negatively about him if he lands with the LA Rams. I mean, Sean McVay is a stud, and he can develop any kind of talent that's out there. And my guy is the new offensive coordinator, Nathan Shieldhouse, who is a budding star of a coach, and he's going to be a head coach soon in the NFL. It could be as soon as after next season. He's that talented. He's only 35 years old, and whatever franchise grabs him and he's calling the shots, he's probably going to call the shots there for the next 15, 20 years. He's that good. And he's very well-versed. And, of course, Sean McVay's got a fantastic coaching tree. So given the strength of that LA Rams staff, given the weapons that he would have around him, let's say Stafford goes out there and plays one more stellar season and says, I'm going to hang up the cleats. That's it. That's a wrap. The beard is getting grayer. My back is getting bulkier. I don't really, want to be, confined into the corner of my room the rest of my life. I'm still upright and mobile, and I'm going to be there for my daughters and raise them and call it a career, and will probably be borderline, if not a full-blown NFL Hall of Fame career. And he bids adieu. And Allar is the man waiting in the wings. Whether it's 2 years down the road, maybe 3 years maximum down the road. Assuming Sean McVay is still there, I don't think Shieldhouse will still be there, but whoever does step in as the OC, he could explode. Because you got Puka Nacua. I mean, Puka Nacua is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, and still very young, well south of 30 years old. And, of course, they'll bring in additional weapons as well, but it's the brilliance of McVay. If Allar landed there, just take my fake money in my fantasy football dynasty league draft. I'm going to be slapping the wallet in the auction because I want all the Drew Allar if it shakes out to be that way.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, too, like James Franklin was his head coach at Penn State. So is it fair to say, I mean, we know, I think at times when you get a quarterback that plays under a great college coach, all the Lincoln Riley quarterbacks are like, oh, well, no wonder he played under Lincoln Riley. And if a quarterback plays under a college coach that isn't that great, we don't blame the head coach. We just blame the quarterback. Oh, this kid doesn't have it. Oh, this kid ain't good enough. Like James Franklin ain't a good quarterback developer. He's not. It's not his forte. So you get right coaching for this kid, for Drew Allar. Like I said, man, I know we talked about Anthony Richardson in a similar vein, right? He's got, like he was built in a lab, 6'4", shredded, and Adonis that can run the football. He had the throwing issues. Drew Allar, I'm not saying he's the same profile as Anthony Richardson, but again, guy that's got an NFL body made for a quarterback, 6'5", 240, laser arm, can run the ball, can run over you. And we saw him dominate. We saw him dominate many, many games in 2024. It's not like he came in and had a so-so year and he was supposed to take off and never did. We saw some awesome tape from Drew Allar in years past. He only played 5 games this past year. And yeah, he was bad in 2 of them and got hurt. I still think all the tools are there if he's in the right spot. And I think that, again, he shows that he's made a lot of progress here in just the last couple of weeks and months. Whatever quarterback coach he might have been working with in the offseason, working on his footwork, working on his progressions, working on his accuracy, I think he's going to turn a lot of heads when he throws at the combine.